213-310-818-5201 So I'm like a new stepdad. You know, the term is as odious as it can get. I hate it, but I am. I love the kids. It's a nice life. It's a beautiful home. We got a pool. What do you want? But the kids are out there with that Nintendo 64. The gentleman on the phone right now, you're saying to keep your grandchildren, correct, sir?
Yes, sir. We've got two grandchildren, and they bring the game over to the house when we're babysitting them.
All right, so what you're doing is you're holding a metal butter knife, and you're putting it into a wall socket?
Well, the principle is the same that they use in a lot of these mental institutions. As you know, they used for many years electroshock. And what electroshock does, from what my familiarity with it is that it basically will reorder, in many ways, the electrons in the brain. And this can cause a altering of behavior. It's not as bad as you're trying to make it sound, Mr. Henry, because...
Well, no, I don't know that I'm trying to make it sound bad. But I'm just saying you gotta, you know, if you're gonna discipline a child from watching too much Nintendo 64, it seems like it's just something that you tell them not to do it.
No, because what you're dealing with Nintendo 64 is you're dealing with a behavior-altering game that can cause these children great harm later on in life, and you need to begin to change the way they think about things, and you need to begin to change their mood almost in relation to this game. And so what we have found is a very quick electric shock, such as the one that I've described to you, can literally change behavior. And
it doesn't sound cruel to you?
No, sir. These are my grandchildren. I love them very much. We would never do anything to harm these children, but what we would do is something that would change the kind of behavior that they exhibit so that they wouldn't be in front of the television set all the time.
All right, let's go to, do you mind if we ask a few people? Because your solution is pretty much out there in terms of behavior modification. I mean...
Well, it doesn't hurt them. Their hair, what it does is it stands the hair up on the back of their head a little bit, but it won't hurt them at all.
It does not hurt them?
No, sir.
I think I would need a doctor's opinion on that.
I can tell you, sir, it does not hurt them.
All right, you're talking about putting a child's hand on a metal butter knife and sticking it into a wall socket. For how long?
Not even a few seconds.
I would think that would hurt them.
I can tell you as a grandfather, sir, it does not. And I would never do anything to endanger those children.
1-800-5201-KFI, 213-310-818-5201-KFI, La Habra on KFI AM 640. Hello?
Hello?
Yes.
Hi. You know, this caller sounds really familiar.
Uh-huh.
I think he was on a few weeks ago, and I think he was the one who said it was okay to lock his kid in the trunk of his car.
I did that to my grandson because he had been acting up on the golf course that day, yes.
When he was complaining it was hot?
Yes, it was very hot.
And he was 5 years old or something.
Well, I can tell you that I taught him that there are hot days and there are much hotter situations. And that's basically the lesson we tried to teach him.
By locking him in the trunk?
Yes, ma'am.
And
you locked your grandson. Is this the same grandson that you're shocking?
Mr. Henry, what we're attempting to do is modify behavior that is destructive for these children. And you can give them all the timeouts in the world, and let me tell you, the most worthless disciplinary action is the timeout, and I wouldn't give you a hoot and a holler for these families that do it.
Okay, ma'am, is that it?
Yeah, it seemed kind of familiar, that kind of stupidity. You know, shocking a grandchild.
Why is that stupidity? They have used electroshock many times to help people.
People who are mentally ill, not people who are 5 years old.
Excuse me, but they use it for behavior modification.
Yeah, but you're not a doctor. So
you don't have to be a doctor to understand that the electric shock can modify behavior. And when you punish them correctly, they never do the same thing twice.
Well, maybe they're not doing it because they're just afraid of you now. Not because what they're doing is wrong.
I'll tell you that they're not doing it, and they'll play their Nintendo, but if they're on it more than, say, a few minutes a day, then they know what the punishment's going to be.
Well, you're talking about Nintendo 64 causing them to be heroin addicts.
If you look at the face of a child using this kind of game, they look just like drug addicts. Just like a drug addict.
All right, thank you for your call, ma'am. 1-800-5201-KFI, 213-310.
Mr. Henry, don't try to make me into something that I'm not. I'm not some kind of a monster. I am a grandfather who cares very much for his grandchildren.
All right, I'm not saying anything other than it sounds extreme, children that are playing too much Nintendo 64 to be electrically shocked. And putting a metal butter knife into a wall socket can send a lot of volts.
No, sir, I'm an electrician by trade. I'm retired now, but I had a heating and plumbing business for many years, and I can tell you it's not going to hurt them.
Well, I don't really want any parents out there listening to this stuff and thinking that they can do that.
I can tell you that it's not going to hurt them.
See, all I'm talking about is trying to get the kids off of the game, all right? I don't want to hurt them.
You're not going to hurt them. You're going to modify their behavior. That's what electroshock is all about.
Kind of a home electroshock. Okay, Banning on KFI AM 640. Hello.
Hi,
Yes.
this is Bonnie.
Yes, Bonnie.
The gentleman is confusing electroshock therapy in the hands of a professional in a mental hospital with his homebrew electric shock, which could destroy parts of their memory, which could kill them.
Well, but it'll keep... No, not just a few seconds, though. It's not going to do anything. Have you ever had electroshock?
I worked in a psychiatric hospital for 6 years as a health educator.
Well, I also know that it's for just a few seconds, because a relative of mine had electroshock administered, and he came out fresh as a daisy.
What you are doing is not electric shock as it is
Fresh as a daisy.
I had an uncle who had electroshock administered to him. Yes, sir.
That may be, but what you are doing is very different, and you should check with people in a mental hospital who do administer electroshock.
Well, I'm trying to modify the behavior of these brats so that they don't turn into drug people.
Yes, but
because they're going to be drug people.
But you are confusing the kind of electroshock given in a hospital under controlled conditions with the kind you are giving at home, and you have no idea what path that electricity is going to take.
It's just a little bit of a shock with an electric butter knife. It's not going to hurt anybody.
That's what you think. I hope someone is listening who can set you straight.
Well, I mean, what we need is a doctor who may be familiar with this.
No, I can tell you that my uncle had electroshock administered several years ago, and he was fresh as a daisy.
Yes, fine, in a mental hospital.
Fresh as a daisy.
Fine in a mental hospital, but not the way you're administering it.
Well, I asked him about it. He said it cleared his mind, and he felt as fresh as a daisy.
Yes,
okay.
But that was given in a mental hospital, not the way you're administering it. There's a big difference, a potentially lethal difference, or at least harmful to the memory.
A lot of the children know it's good for them.
No, it is not good for them, and I certainly hope someone is listening to you who can set you straight.
As fresh as a daisy.
All right. Well, thank you very much, ma'am, for your call.
You're welcome.
Appreciate that. That's a lady who works in the field. 1-800. We're talking about kids who play Nintendo 64 too much. What do? Do you just take the game away from them? Does that change their behavior? Does that change their need for it? Here's a gentleman on the line. His grandchildren who play too much Nintendo 64. He administers an electric shock by putting a metal butter knife into a wall socket and forcing the kids to hold on to it. It seems extreme to me. 1-800-5201-KFI, 213-310-818. 5201-KFI, 213-310-818-5201-KFI. This is Phil Hendry Show, where you can't believe everything you hear. You know, we're getting a lot of complaints about Wayne, and we really need a lot of people out there to get lives. To get lives. To get L-I-F. Find a lives alive. Thank you. It's the official policy of KFI. Okay, 1-800-5201-KFI, 213-310-818-5201-KFI. Have a gentleman on the line who disciplines his grandchildren who watch too much Nintendo 64 by sticking their hands into a wall socket holding a magnetic or a metal butter knife, I should say, is the word I'm looking for. Now, it seems extreme to me, sir. You're talking about shocking these children as behavior modification. And again, as the last lady said, you're not a doctor, so you don't know exactly what you're dealing with.
I can tell you that I've had members of my family who had electroshock administered, and they were as fresh as a daisy. It cleared their minds, and it is not a destructive thing if done properly. You've got to begin to modify the behavior of these children who are growing up on video and all of these games and all of these crazy television programs, and the only way to do that is with a very moderate electric shock, which we administer either using a knife in a wall socket or by putting their hands into a toaster, or...
You put their hands into a toaster?
We put the hand, holding the knife into a toaster, yes.
Do the kids... I mean, is this working?
Oh, you'd better believe it works. You'd better believe it works. Very gradually, the kids are getting weaned off of this behavior. Because I got 4 kids at home who are playing this game, and they are playing it at a record-breaking clip, but I don't know... I mean, I hide the controllers from them. But you don't change the behavior. behavior. You can hide the controller. It doesn't change the behavior. Wake up.
All right, here's East Los Angeles. Well, I believe I am awake, sir. East Los Angeles on KFI AM 640. Hello.
Yeah, how you doing?
Good.
Well, I was taking a shower, listening to this guy, this man. Okay, he does it his own way, but that's wrong. That's really wrong.
What is wrong about that?
Because, the kids, you could burn their tissue with their fingers, sir. I work in a hospital, sir. Sir, let me speak, please.
Yes, sir.
That's wrong. You could take the kids out of the house, take them somewhere, buy some ice cream, take them to a carnival. If there's a carnival, take them there. Take them a walk. No, it doesn't work that way. Or just don't buy the video game. Put it away.
Well, you see, the parents bought the game. My daughter bought these games for the kids. And they come over with these games when we're babysitting them. Don't give me the hogwash. Oh, the best thing to do is behavior modification.
No, look, I don't buy no video game for them, and they don't play video game. They study, they do their homework.
There you go.
They do some work around the house.
Are you a doctor, sir?
No, I'm like a dietitian.
But you work in a hospital?
Yes, I do. And that's wrong what he's doing. That's like torturing him.
Well, no, what it is it's called behavior modification. You can ask any doctor.
In the long run, it's going to affect them. Remember what I'm telling you, sir.
One of the things
it's going to affect them in the long run. And I'm telling you now, that's torturing them.
Excuse me, but I know that my grandchildren are...
Okay, they're your grandchildren, but you're doing the wrong way. You're sticking back in the caveman days, sir. I'm sorry to say that.
They are becoming very obedient and disciplined as a result.
Oh, by torturing them that way? That's how they're going to learn respect and all that? And they're going to do that to their kids in the future?
Let me ask a question. When they, how do you know?
Well, because when I tell them I want the video game turned off, you ought to see how fast they run to turn that game off. And sometimes if they're a little slow, we'll get them over to the wall socket. And all I have to do is point to the wall socket.
Oh, my God. Oh, sir.
It does sound pretty cruel.
It is cruel. It is cruel. There's other methods you can use, sir. Get them a book to read. Tell them stories.
I don't think that...
All I have to do, excuse me for interrupting, all I have to do is point to the wall socket.
No, oh, God. I don't believe this, what I'm hearing. I wish I know who you are so I could put your finger in there yourself, too.
Sir, I tell you right now, I'm a grandfather and I'm a father.
Okay, you're a grandfather and you're a father. And what am I? I'm a father, too.
All right, and I'm telling you that the kids, if you want to modify... What kind of father are you that you let them watch?
Hey, my kids are good. They listen to me. I only speak once and they do what I say.
Do they watch the Nintendo?
No, they don't. There's none of that in the house.
Well, I'll tell you this much. When I was a young man and my father wanted to get the message home, he'd take the butt end of a cigarette and
there you go. There you go. You follow his steps. There you go. You follow his steps.
What are you saying? Your father did what to you?
He'd
burn him with a cigarette. That's what he said.
Put a cigarette out on my arm, and I'll tell you, I got the message.
Your own father put a cigarette out on you.
Yes, he did.
I don't believe what I'm hearing.
I'll tell you that it works, and it's the kind of behavior modification.
You talk about behavior modification. What you're talking about is cruelty to children.
There you go.
Don't start with that hogwash.
No, it's true what he's saying. Don't blame the announcer.
I'll tell you, they're as fresh as a daisy.
No. Don't blame the announcer. He's just telling what he feels, and it's cruelty what you're doing, and that's torture.
Thank you for calling tonight, sir.
Thank you.
The good father, I think, from East L.A.
Well, he may think he's a good father, but they're as fresh as a daisy, and they don't...
You use this term fresh as a daisy after you've been sticking their hands into a light socket. I don't know how that applies. Encino on KFI AM 640. Hello.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you got to be this guy's got to be insane.
I think it's abject cruelty.
Well,
it is a behavior Do you believe in spanking?
Yes, I do.
Well, then, sir, what is the difference?
Let me tell you something. What you're doing in California, first of all, is felony child abuse.
I beg your pardon. You just said to me that you believe in spanking, didn't you?
There's a big difference. You could be put in prison for what you're doing.
What is the difference between spanking and giving the child some behavior modification?
If you don't know the difference between that, you're definitely insane.
Sir, I would ask you to explain it to me, since you're the one with all the answers.
Well, the difference is spanking is a lower form of behavior modification. There's no doubt about it. But it doesn't give any lasting problems to the children. And what you're doing, you're sending electricity into these children, which could harm them.
What we do is, I'll tell you right now... I'll tell you right now, it gets the children to move, and this is what I'm trying to say to the host here, is that when the children will stand in a little bit of water, and we'll give them an open wire, and we give them a little bit of a shock to remind...
Wait a minute, you got them standing in a puddle of water?
This guy's insane.
And excuse me, but I do take grave offense at the word insane.
Well, I'd like to put you in a bathtub.
I want to ask you a question, sir. You said your uncle had been in a nut house?
My uncle had been in a medical facility. Yes,
Phil,
sir, not a nut house.
Phil, can I tell you something? This guy is perpetuating abuse that he got as an adult.
I think that not only that, I think there's mental illness in your family.
How dare you say that to me? I know how to treat. I raised 2 daughters very well. Thank you very much.
You were abused as a child, and you're perpetuating that. That's what's happening.
My uncle underwent electroshock therapy at Atascadero.
Wait a minute, Atascadero?
Yes, sir.
Do you realize that that's a hospital for the criminally insane?
Do you realize that he could...
What difference does that make? He came out fresh as a daisy. He was this...
Well, you knock it off with the fresh as a daisy.
He could be put in the Atascadero for what he's doing, this moron.
I beg your pardon, sir, but I know how to raise my own grandchildren. I'll thank you to butt out.
Thank you.
I'll thank you to butt out.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. 1-800-5201-KFI, 213-310-818-5201-KFI. Costa Mesa on KFI AM 640. Hello.
Yes, I'd like to know what the parents of these children think about this.
That is my daughter. That would be my daughter.
And she has no problem with you disciplining her children and supposedly modifying their behavior this way?
I will tell you that when she gives those children to us to babysit, all bets are off. If she wants us to babysit those children, we'll babysit them.
I really hope, sir, in all my heart, that you are not for real and this is not something that you truly do.
You know what I'd like to know, Mr. Henry, on your program, you've got all these supposedly great parents. We've got a society full of child violence, children killing each other. We've got...
And all you're going to do is perpetuate that. All you're going to do is make it worse.
I'll tell you that when I point to the toaster or to the wall socket, those children hop to it. They hop to it.
Because they know that they're going to have their fingers shoved into a toaster?
Sir, my husband is a sheriff, and this is against the law. This is against the law, and I truly hope that this radio station...
Your husband is a sheriff?
Yes, he is.
Are you a sheriff?
No, I'm not.
Well, then what would you know about it? Thank you very much.
What would you know about administering something like this? You talk about your uncle supposedly had this. Excuse me, sir. You keep telling us that your uncle has had this done in a hospital, and you say that it's the same thing.
Do you think you're going to arrest me?
Are you licensed to do this?
Do you think you're going to arrest me?
I personally am not, no, but I hope that they get your address and they send Child Protective Services over there.
It'd take a whole platoon of police to arrest me, I can tell you that.
You know what? And bring them on. Bring them on. And I hope that your godchildren get away from you.
Here's what I think about you and your police officer husband.
Well, now, what kind of adult behavior is that?
I'm just saying to the lady, if she wants to play that game, I can play it right back.
Well, someone needs to modify your behavior, sir.
You can't arrest me. You can't arrest me.
You're torturing children. You think this is some kind of a game, sir?
She's threatening me with arrest. Go ahead, try to arrest me. You can't arrest me.
Sir, obviously the cigarette burns that you had put on your arm,
what a jackass.
Obviously made you the way that you are.
I have the ability to escape from handcuffs, so don't worry about it.
Sir?
Ma'am, where does your husband work?
He works out at Chino Hills, San Bernardino County.
He's a San Bernardino sheriff?
Yes, he is.
Stick your head in doo-doo.
And Sue, sir, what
listen to
county
this.
do you live in?
I beg your pardon?
What county do you
I
live
live
in?
in Los Angeles County.
Los Angeles County.
Ma'am, is your husband at work right now?
No, he's not, but I'm just about to send him back there. This is so completely wrong.
I think we have a mentally diseased individual on the line. I think he's a guy that tortures his kids by electrocuting them, and I think something ought to be done.
I would agree completely. And if this guy is for real, I mean, I'm still having a hard time figuring out if this is just a joke on the radio station or if this is actually for real.
I think what we have here is a guy who's talking about, he said that his uncle had been in the nut bin.
And fresh as a daisy, came out fresh as a daisy.
Came out fresh as a daisy.
From a criminal insane
You sound like somebody, your lettuce is wilted, sir.
Oh, isn't that funny? Isn't that funny? Well, I can tell you this much. I'm a grandfather 3 times over, and I would never do anything to hurt those children. I can tell you that.
And because you love them, don't you?
That's right. I love them very much.
And that's how you show your love, by locking them in the trunk of a car when it's hot, but it's not too hot. Is that right?
And having them stand in a puddle of water with a couple of open wires will teach them through behavior modification not to be watching that drug-addicted Nintendo drug thing.
You said that Nintendo's going to turn them into drug addicts. What are you turning them into?
All right. I thank you for your call, ma'am.
Thank you.
1-800-5201. Can you get any kind of a trace? 1-800-5201-KFI, 213-310-818-5201-KFI. It's really interesting. I mean, we started the hour talking about Nintendo 64 and the kids at our house that are on this thing morning, noon, and night. All over, I mean, 6:30 in the morning. Let's get the game popping and let's get it going and let's play it all day. And what do you do about that kind of addiction to a game or to television? This gentleman that we've been talking to from Alhambra uses what he calls behavior modification. He puts their hands into a light socket, holding on to a metal butter knife, sometimes puts their hands into a toaster, and sometimes has them standing in a puddle of water holding bare wires. You call this electroshock therapy, sir. A lot of people think it's torture.
And there are a lot of people out there, Mr. Henry, that are not good parents, and a lot of people out there that don't know how to deal with children.
By torturing them.
I don't think it's torture, and I'll tell you right now that I know what's best for my grandchildren, and further, the proof is in the pudding. They don't sit around looking at that drug-addicted Nintendo 64 like they just took up shooting up a drug.
Santa Ana on KFI AM 640. Hello.
Hi.
Yes.
Well, I was listening to your program a couple of weeks ago.
Uh-huh.
And I heard this gentleman talking about how he put his grandson into a trunk of a car.
Yes, I most certainly did.
Well,
I don't regret it at all.
I don't know
5-year-old boy locked in the trunk of a car.
Yes, sir.
Well, I think somebody should do something about that.
Well, I'll tell you that I know what's best for the child, and he hasn't complained. He hasn't complained about the heat.
No, but what are you going to do when you kill one of your grandchildren?
I beg your pardon?
What are you going to do when you kill one of your grandchildren?
I'm not going to kill one of my grandchildren.
How many grandchildren do you have?
I have 3.
You have 3?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
And I can tell you I treat all of them very, very well. And they're healthy children. And when I point to the wall socket of the toaster, they hop to it.
Well, I'll tell you something. I think that maybe your children who are allowing you to watch these grandchildren...
I'll tell them you want the wall socket, and they hop to it.
Well, I wouldn't let you watch my children.
Well, I'm not asking to watch your children, am I?
I know, but I don't think you should be...
Hillary Clinton wrote a book called It Takes a Village. And everybody poo-pooed that book about It Takes a Village, but now everybody wants to check in. Everybody thinks it's everybody else's business.
Well, what she was saying is it takes a village, it takes a whole country to raise children.
Well, why are they butting in on my business?
Because you're doing something that's wrong, you're doing something that's illegal, you're not considering the long-term effects that this is going to have on your grandchildren.
Do you know the law?
I'm sorry?
Do you know the law? What do you mean?
I know that it's against the law to torture children.
I'm not torturing them. I'm
yes,
giving them
you are.
I'm giving them a little bit. They're as fresh as a daisy.
Well, they make protective covers for electric sockets to keep children from putting metal objects in there and shocking themselves because they can die from that.
I don't believe I've seen that data.
And I think a child
You haven't seen that data.
If you put it in a trunk.
Well, that's what you think, and you're wrong.
I do, and I think somebody should contact the Child Protective Services so that you can't care for children any longer.
Child Protective Services can't catch me.
Well, I wouldn't be too sure.
They're not going to get me. Not
then you know that what you're doing is wrong.
No, it's not wrong. It's fun. It's fun for the kids.
It isn't.
All right, thank you for your call. Let's go to mobile on the 405 on KFI AM 640. Hello.
Hello.
A mobile on the 405. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. I am a licensed psychologist.
Oh, here we go. Now we got one of the head shrinkers checking in, huh?
That's right. I've been a head shrinker since 1976 when I earned my Ph.D. I've gone to Utah State University, the University of Southern California, and the California School of Professional Psychology.
No, Mr. Menza's on the phone here.
So don't be...
I have been
hear the man out.
for 19 years. I administer the examination for licensure, which is coming up this weekend, as a matter of fact.
What did you get on your SAT?
My SAT?
Anyway, sir, he's being a smartass.
Now listen, I'm not totally convinced this man is for real. But if you are for real, sir, let me tell you that what you're talking about is not behavior modification. Behavior modification...
You shrinkers are the one that come up with the whole electroshock deal in the first place.
Well, behavior... If you'd like to listen for a minute, I'd appreciate it.
No, you did. I know you did.
Okay. Behavior therapy is a rather sophisticated set of techniques. Now, if you think that you're administering behavior therapy, I would like to ask you if you know what successive approximations is, if you know what positive reinforcement is.
Let me show you something. I'm standing right next to a wall socket right now, Doctor, and I have an electric butter knife. Now watch what happens, all right? Okay, watch this, Phil.
What are you going to do?
I'm going to put the knife, watch this.
I do believe this man is. I do believe this man is pulling our leg.
I think so too, and I apologize. All right.
And
I don't know what to say.
I would like to encourage. I don't know if KFI has a way of finding out this man's telephone
We'll try
number.
to find out.
I hope you do, because it's clearly
stimulating talk radio. Because you can't believe everything you hear. 1-800-5201-KFI. We've got an awful lot of feedback and an awful lot of fallout from the last hour. The gentleman who was talking about behavior modification, how to keep his grandkids from watching Nintendo 64. He sticks their hands, makes them hold onto a metal butter knife and sticks it into a wall socket. And he calls that electroshock, so that their behavior is modified. Beverly Hills on KFI AM 640. Hello.
Hello?
Yes, ma'am?
Yes, I'd like to get this man's name so we can have him arrested for child abuse.
You think you're going to have me arrested?
Yes. Why don't you give your name out?
All right. I'll give it to you.
Okay.
Mickey?
Pardon?
Mickey
Mickey?
Mouse.
Oh, being a smart guy, huh?
You're very cute.
Oh, come on.
You wouldn't even think of giving your name, would you?
I'll give you my name.
Well, go on.
As a matter of fact, I'll give you my home phone number.
Well, give it to me.
All righty. Are you ready?
Yes.
It's area code 213-251-3189.
Yes.
My last name is Raines, R-I-N-E-S.
R-I-N-E-S.
No, I said R-I-N-A-E-S.
N-A-E-S.
No, ma'am. If you want to spell my last name, spell it correctly, please.
R-I...
No. I said R-A.
R-A...
N...
N...
S...
S...
E...
Yeah.
A... R... A... O...
Yeah.
L...
You've been giving me different...
What are you doing, sir? What is your last name?
My last name is Raines. It has an unusual spelling.
You've been giving us a different spelling all the time. You are...
My full name is Darby Lloyd Raines.
You are insane.
I am not insane. I'm trying to give you my name. Do you want
Go ahead. What is it?
My last name is spelled R...
Yes.
U...
Yeah.
S...
Yeah.
T...
Yeah.
I...
What is it?
I... C...
C?
C, as in cat.
Yeah.
O...
Yeah.
L...
Yeah.
D...
What is it? D?
D as in dog.
Yeah.
B...
You are a dog. Go on.
B as in boy. I... T... C... H.
I think you are absolutely...
Wait a minute, that spells rustic old bitch.
No, it does not. That is, my last name is Raines.
You are insane.
How can I be insane? I gave you my home phone number. Call me up and talk to me.
I won't call you, but I will have the police call you.
Oh, you think you will you?
Yes, I will.
You better not.
Well, I will.
No, you better not.
I will. You are...
I'll come and find you.
You are an insane man.
Oh, lay off of me, will you?
And I think that you should be arrested, not tomorrow, but today.
I bet you like torturing men, don't you?
Yes.
You like
Men
to torture?
like you, I would like to torture.
Oh, are you married?
Men like you, I would like... Yes, I am married, and I have grown children.
You know what you should
and
do?
Grandchildren, and
You know
I have never laid a finger on them.
You know... Oh,
and
come on.
I think that you are... And I think that your daughter should be arrested with you.
Didn't you used to flash your kids when they were sitting in the tub?
Your daughter should be arrested with you.
Didn't you walk in there and throw your house coat open and go, woo-woo?
Why don't you, Phil...
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Why
ma'am.
don't you have this call traced?
We are attempting that now.
Oh, you're trying to trace the call, are you?
Yes, sir, we are, as a matter of fact.
Thank you very much.
You can't find me. You can't find me.
Please do that.
You'll never find me, lady.
Have the call traced
Hey, lady.
so we can have this man arrested.
I'll tell you something right now. You know what you need? Hello?
Yeah?
You need to go out and have a drink with me.
Oh,
You need to have a cocktail with me.
really? I think that's your problem.
Do you know what we could do?
Cocktail.
No, but do you know what we could do? we could go and have one of your nipples pierced.
Oh, my God.
Oh, come on.
Phil, please,
Yes, ma'am.
get this trace.
Let's go and have a nipple piercing. How about a tattoo? How
I
about
don't even know if he's just making this up.
How about-
He may not even be
How
doing
about
what he's saying
we
that
go-
he's doing.
Are you calling
But
me a
the
liar?
man doesn't belong on the street.
Are you calling me a liar?
Yes, I am.
You're calling me a
I'm
liar.
calling you every name in the book. You are the most sick, insipid,
Come on.
disgusting
Come
human
on.
being
Oh, yeah, I
that
love
I
it.
have ever heard of in my life.
Oh, I love
and
the
if Phil
abuse.
doesn't do something
Oh.
about this, I think that he...
Well, let me ask you something. Are your nipples worth piercing?
Good God Almighty, man.
No, really, I want to ask her. Hello?
Phil,
Yes, ma'am.
I hope that you are having the call trace.
We are, ma'am. We are attempting right now.
Are we talking Sagarama, or what are we dealing with here?
Because I don't know if he's really...
Ma'am, the guy is, I think the man is mentally disturbed, as you said.
Just putting us on.
I think he's mentally
He is
disturbed.
insane.
Listen, I had electroshock therapy 3 years ago in August. And if you like, you can come to my... Let me ask you about...
Let me talk to your wife.
All right, you want to talk to her?
Yeah.
All right, darling. The woman wants to talk to you. Hello?
Hello?
Yes, hello.
Hello?
Yes, hello.
Are you his darling wife?
He's very sick.
Huh?
He's very sick.
Well, why do you let him...
Oh, he got to the phone. Hello?
All right, thank you. 1-800-5201-KFI, 213...
You know, my nipples are pierced.
Get out.